to kind of pass it along their known handlers, their known players, and to use their stars to get it into the end zone right there, and it ties the game up 4-4. But Iceni, again, looking down right now, if the game continues to go without breaks, which crazier things have happened, they got to get a break soon.
Yeah, I think Iceni will probably be a little bit frustrated at the scoreline at this stage. I think they know that they have they're demonstrating maybe a bit more calmness on the field. They're sort of playing their offensive plays. I think that in the kind of some of the earlier points that we've seen, they've perhaps just given it away a few times, which is well within their abilities to tighten up and to start scoring some of these breaks.
And Gerard with the disc right here, throwing it deep. Looks like Martine running, it's just out of her grasp, but we know she has that capability too, as it looks like a miscommunication. Both players, Gerard just saying, my bad on that one. I just missed you. And we see the Iceni defense pick up Quan right there. Looking, Roland looking around, throwing it to Quan. Quan searching, throwing it to Katie Flight. Flight throwing it up line. Back to Quan. Back to Flight. Quan. Back to Flight again. Just continuation passes between their handlers right now as they're trying to see if they can get any cuts open. Flight back to Quan. Quan up line. To the mysterious 83. She almost had it right there. It was just a little too far.
Very unfortunate. Great effort by, I think, Kim Marsh, putting the play in there to try and come down with that score. That was a really tricky option. Obviously, that throw quite far out in front of her. I think there's been an injury called. Not sure who on the field has had a challenge. One of the Iceni players, it seems. Yeah, great effort by Iceni there. I'm not sure that was the kind of the option that I want to be taking at this stage. It was pushing it a little bit, kind of trying to force it down the line. A really hard throw to make. You're sort of throwing from in line with the player you're trying to get it to and trying to put it around the front of them. And of course, that came in with just a little bit too much sauce and was unable to be reeled in.
And Gerard swaggerly walking up to the line right now. Looks like the wind is picking up just a little bit. That can influence some throws, but it died down. And a D right there by Katie Flight.
Yeah, great read of the play by Katie Flight, able just to get in front and swat that one away.
Katie Flight to Quan. Quan around throw to look like Roland. Roland to Quan. Perfect. And that's the break they needed.
That is, and Fiona Quan getting on the scoreboard there, which is great. She put a lot of effort in at that point, working it up as a handler, and it's always great to see coming through, showing her downfield athletic ability as well.
Exactly, and just to kind of emphasize on that as well too, Quan with the goal right there, and then also has a block in the game for the D, so she has 1 point. She almost has a trifecta. And again, to some of our viewers that don't know, a trifecta I like to call, it's just when a player has at least one of each category, maybe a goal, assist, a block, and you can't get any better than that.
Yeah, Fiona Quan, you can put money on her getting goals, assists, and blocks. So
it's like the triple-double of Frisbee.
Yeah. Yeah, great calm play there, I think, by Iceni, working hard to move the disc down there and kind of take advantage of those turns that they are starting to generate. So I think as long as they sort of control their offensive play, in the sense that they're focusing on not allowing any opportunities for those freestyle run-through Ds, they're managing to kind of shift the momentum of this game very much into their favor.
You see Iceni throwing it downfield for their pull. And it goes right out of bounds again. And kind of while we wait for this pull to come in bounds, we just wanted to mention thank you again to our supporters on Patreon for providing us this coverage, allowing us to kind of live some dreams out here, you know, kind of come to a brilliant day at Tom's Tourney in Brugge and allowing us to do that. And again, if you haven't donated just yet, please, any amount you can suffice would be greatly appreciated, so that way we can keep providing free Ultimate to you as well. And it looks like number 5, Marine Benoit, just looking at the disc, looking for options. And Natalia Bocanegro Gomez with a throw back. Natalia Labotte Low throw to Benway. Benway back to Lamote. Bocanegro Gomez. Looking. And 18, Courtoisi throwing it up there. It looks like two and it looks like two Frizstyle players had it right there, but looks like number 70, an unnamed player for Iceni, gets the D right there.
Yeah, there was a pick call on the field, which basically they would have brought the disc back, but because there was a turnover, because Frizstyle weren't able to come down with it, Iceni have declined that call, and that stands as a turnover.
You see number 57, Lucy Barnes, throwing up to number 28, Karen Kwok. Kwok throwing it to Ananozovic. Ananozovic throwing it to Barnes.
Bailey Melvin Tang, that one.
Ellsby open right there. Lamote marking. Ellsby throwing it to number 31, McCarthy.
Great block there from number 27. Lamote, nice hand block, really just read the line that she knew McCarthy wanted to take. Pick called.
And I'll say, folks, too, if you're kind of keeping track of the jersey numbers and the fiasco going on, it looks like number 27/17, who we thought was Lamote, has two different numbers on there, and it looks like she might be one of the players kind of unnamed. So, again, we're just kind of throwing it out there, seeing how he has, and with Lamote with the disc, throwing it to number 99, Lafont. Lafont throwing it to Bocanegro Gomez. Back to Lamote. And there's a pick called.
Yeah, Frizstyle before the game did let us know that they did have two number 17s and two number 27s. So probably we are going to have a high number of stats for those numbers. It's actually two people putting in the effort.
And up the lane. Benoit throwing right to Lafont, but just a little dark. Benoit probably wants that one back. As you can see, she's kind of looking at the heavens like, He's just got away from her.
Benoit saw the option, she saw the space. I think that was exactly the correct option to take. It just wasn't there in the execution. That wasn't a throw that she wanted to come off. Rolled in, it was a little low, came in a little roll curvy, that sort of came outside edge, slanted in a little bit too quickly rather than floating out into the space as she would have liked, and unfortunately that's a turnover.
And Grady McCarthy picking up right now to Barnes. Barnes looking. Throws it to Kwok. Kwok there. And it was just out of the grease of Courtoisi. And the wind picking up right there. Lamote with the D. And right there, you can kind of just see the wind picking up right on that throw. As we mentioned, it has a little bit of a factor all game, but Lamote looking up line now, throwing it to number 27. 27 throwing it to Bocanegro Gomez, but Gomez keeps saying it's just a little bit out there. What a great D right there by, it looks like,
number 10, Sarah Hills, I believe.
Believe so. Looks like she has just a little bit of a different kit than the rest of the Iceni players, but it's 22, I think. No, it's not Charlie Ellen. So
her shorts say 10 and her shirt says 22.
I think that one, safe to say, probably Sarah Hills. And we have, it looks like the first timeout of the game. And while we kind of wait right here for that, we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of a breather and give you one of our ads from our Alti TV staff.
Help School Electric, become a member.
And we're back as both teams are coming from the timeout. The first timeout, it looks like, of the game, maybe even the day, honestly. And with this kind of tournament style, you really don't see timeouts called as much because you only have 60-minute games. And the importance is that these games really don't last much. And if you're in a tight, gridded game like this, 5-4, you want to use as much time as possible to get as many points as possible so that way you don't approach that soft cap.
Yeah, it's challenging with the shorter games. You really want to maximize, but equally, if you're seeing repeated mistakes or repeated kind of challenges that you're not able to address, if you feel the fact that your concentration might be slipping for your team, it can be super beneficial, even if it does spend precious minutes of that kind of 60-minute game that's not that long in the first instance. It can be really beneficial to call a quick timeout, have a moment to refocus, have grab a quick water, and come back ready to play.
And as we see that refocus come with McCarty getting the disc in. Up line, right into the hands of Benoit. Benoit to Lamotte. Looking up, it's a one of number 17, 27. Lamotte just right out of the grasp of Benoit. Oh, they call her in?
I think that one's going to be called out, unfortunately. Great effort to get down there, but just went on maybe a little bit on the breeze, a little bit too much sauce on that throw, but yeah, came further around than I think number 27 Lamotte was looking for.
And Rachel, again, I gotta love the use of this. A little bit too much sauce on that one. It had too much mustard on that throw. And we see McCarty pick up the disc at the cone. Again, back in the same, almost exact field position as before. Oh, and a collision. Into Benoit, she shakes it off, gives a hand up, and walks to the disc.
Yeah, just seeing, I think if there's a call there, I think the collision happened perhaps after Kwok had sort of started her cut and got free, I think. So from our perspective, maybe it should stay with Kwok and the defender should catch up, but I think on field they've decided it did affect, and they will be taking that back to their initial positions. McCarthy with the disc in the corner. Discussion about the stall count. Looking up the line, passes back to Kwok. Kwok looking, doesn't have a force at the moment, back to McCarthy. Into the middle, number 70. Far sideline, Melvin Tang passes up the line to Karen Kwok. Karen Kwok fakes an overhead, looking for an under. Catherine Ellsby catches that despite the pressure from the defensive player. Looking for a nice reset, Karen Kwok is there. A quick pass to number 70, and straight into the end zone to a very open number 22.
And right there too, I mean, it's just kind of effortlessly right there. The timeout gave them a little bit of a break, but that came out after that turn and just effortlessly moved it up the field, Iceni. And as we see right here, they take the lead 6-4. And honestly, that could be, I guess, attributed kind of to their defense as well too. It looks like the Frizstyle's offensive line been broken 50%, which is 3 out of the 6 points they've had. And Iceni just using that to their advantage while they're only getting broken 25%, which is 1 out of their 4 0 points.
Yeah, an interesting play there, I think. We saw the timeout called. We talked about how the team would probably be discussing focus and playing their own game and controlling the controllables and all of that. And then straight out of that timeout, we saw a turn. And we saw Frizstyle going and getting that defense on, an option probably that shouldn't have been taken. It looked like a fairly easy D for Frizstyle there, and then we saw a Frizstyle throwaway. So Iceni getting that score with a great offensive play after that point, but kind of gifted with that offense that came from a sort of a throwaway turn, and then which the turn wasn't really earned, I think.
Just here, Fleur Giroux throwing it to number 30, Dupuis. Dupuis throwing it to 94, Potin. Potin looking at Sane. We haven't called Sane's name in a while. Again, as that deep threat, it looks like for the end zone. They're a little quiet there. Back to Fiente. Fiente throwing to number 17. Kirkhouse, and it throws a deep shot. And it's deflected by number 85/48 of Iceni. Iceni throwing it to number 29, Joanna Hammer. What a snag to keep the point alive. Looks like back to number 54, Quan. Quan throwing it up to line to Katie Flight. Quan trying to get open. Flight. Taking Flight. Looks like to number 11, Cat Roland, and she gets it right there. Roland looking open, and oh, what a beautiful put by Flight.
Amazing point there for Katie Flight. I think the disc went through her hands several times. She sort of dishes it off. She moves into that central space. She attacks the space hard, gets free, gets the pass, and puts up a beautiful huck to a very open Roland for the score. I think that was a lovely point for Iceni, but particular shout out to Katie Flight there for really nailing that offense and kind of holding that together for them.
And right here we see too, kind of Katie Flight taking over this defensive offense for the Iceni team. As we see, she's thrown her second assist that we've configured, just because, again, kind of due to the jersey and kit numbers and once we realized the mistake. So she might even have a little bit more, but at least 2 assists right there to kind of put her team up 7-4. And it looks like Iceni's just breaking a little bit away from Frizstyle right here.
Yeah, and she's also a big defensive player. We saw her getting the defense down in that far corner in maybe the previous point or the point before. Definitely a big defensive pressure and a real asset on offense.
As we see right here, Iceni pulling the disc from Becky Thompson, excuse me. Back to Lamotte.
Lucy Barnes burning it down the field there to get the pressure on.
Benoit right to number 18, Helen Cordoza. Kwasi to Benoit. Oh, and it's D.
Melvin Tang coming through with the D there, but does seem to be a little bit of contact on the kind of follow through. Not sure if there's going to be a call or if that's perhaps just, okay, an injury called.
As you see right here in the replay, it looks like Melvin Tang just kind of went through. It looks like just accidentally hit the face maybe of Benoit right there as she's recovering, comes out.
Yeah, I think that's a real challenging moment when Melvin Tang's taking a line to try and make that intercept while the Frizstyle player is moving in. I think that's number 5, Benoit, trying to move into that space also to attack the disc. It can be really challenging to avoid contact in those instances, and I think just unfortunately seems to have clipped her a little bit. But it seems like the defense is standing, and that's a turnover. An excellent read on that play by Melvin Tang.
And right here we see just a big loss with Benoit coming out of the game. But Melvin Tang just also having a big defensive presence right there that gives them, Iceni of course, the opportunity to score. Becky Thompson looking, throwing to space to Melvin Tang for the bookends.
Absolutely. Great play there, really isolating players in space, and I think you see a lot of trust there. Becky Thompson, she knows where Melvin Tang's going to cut. She can put it out in front. Beautiful touch on that throw, really sat in front of her, moved into the space and let Melvin Tang chase onto that and come down with that very safely for Iceni.
And Iceni converting their 5th break of the game. That's 62% of the breaks that they convert, which is 5 out of 8. And right now, it just seems like a little bit of fatigue is coming to this Frizstyle team by having these low numbers. Yeah,
I think you can see the wind has gone out of their sails a touch, and I think part of that will be tired legs. They did play that extra game against in the pool players yesterday. They came. They had a crossover game, after their pool plays, which Iceni didn't have. So they will have played an extra game yesterday. There are fewer people, so they will inevitably be more tired. But I also think Iceni are clicking, and I think it's really hard to stay motivated and stay intense against a team that you see sort of things clicking into place for them. Iceni have got 4 points on back-to-back, and so Frizstyle are really going to have to be focusing up and trying to get back on the scoreboard to try and get some momentum back in their side. Pull goes up from Dalman. Received and moved upfield to number 44, Gerard.
Karajic looking up line. Vinchette throws downfield, and it looks like it's not going to come into Flor Gerard. And it's about the halfway mark.
Yeah, it was a good look. I think it was quite an aggressive look, but I think that where they're at, that's not bad to be taking those options now. They need to be getting some more points on the board, but unfortunately just not able to keep that throw in. Perhaps there's a little bit of breeze again, like as we sort of mentioning, it's picking up a little bit more, and it is kind of coming from the away side to the home side, which will push that sort of throw out of this end zone line. That makes that throwing window quite small, and it makes it very difficult to get the shape on it, which it looked like they were trying to achieve.
And Iceni taking it half field, great field position for this defense as they look up line. And a good toe tap right there by Charlie Ellis. Charlie Ellis surveying the field. Throws it deep, and it looks like a little miscommunication. And the disc doesn't come in.
Yeah, miscommunication on offense there, and I think defense being quite smart to not touch that disc on the defense, which means it comes back in where it went out, which should be a little bit higher up, rather than coming in at the front of the end zone line as it would have if the defense had touched it.
And it looks like the sidelines here, both teams kind of discussing where they think the disc should come in at, and Lamote raising her hand saying, I saw it come out here. Discussing with Becky Thompson.
Of course, all these sorts of decisions are resolved on the field. That's the nature of kind of the spirit of the game. But of course, the sideline is here to be consulted as and when they're needed. And I think in this instance, it's been decided it's coming in on the front of the end zone.
And it's right through the hands of 98, Lavielle. And as we see here, the sidelines kind of talking, hey, it needs to come up here as well too. But Iceni again with great field position in the end zone. See if they can implement their offense for another break.
A lot of pressure from Frizstyle here.
And what a great fake to number 8, Dalman. Dalman looking. See players with their hands up saying, I'm open, but Dalman with, oh!
Dalman is able to catch that because it came off of the hands of the defensive player. If it hadn't touched the defensive player, she would not be able to catch it. You can't throw and catch your own pass, but when it comes off of someone else's hands, that is a legitimate catch. And if they're, oh, okay. In that instance, maybe she feels like Dalman connected with it again, or I'm not sure what happened there, but.
Maybe it just slipped out of her hands and she caught it again.
Yeah, maybe there wasn't contact, but that's unusual there.
But again, just a great showman of the sportsmanship from both of these teams, and a miscommunication there. Lafayette, and an easy pickup. Oh, maybe not an easy pickup and score for the Iceni defense, as it looks like Iceni had to turn she had to turn her whole body around to catch that one.
Yeah, that was an excellent catch. Unfortunately, that throw was just that moment low. Maybe that cut was a touch early, actually. They sort of hit that space, attacked that space, but unfortunately the throw wasn't able to throw that in good time, but no problem there. The Iceni player is going to make sure that they come down with that and put their body on the line to receive it. Offensively there, I think Iceni, it was interesting to see them moving into that kind of red zone and trying to attack that end zone. They were looking very scrappy and very flustered. You know, they were playing quite small. They were really caught up in this sort of half of the field. A lot of pressure from Frizstyle, a lot of pressure on the force, not letting those dumps go out. And that's where we saw that turnover where they sort of tried to get out what would have been a high stall count desperation hammer. We thought that was going to stay with Iceni. We thought that they'd managed to recover that after a block, but actually that was a turnover in the end. Of course, they then got it back on a throwaway and put that in nicely. But yeah, a really kind of scrappy moment on the offensive side there that Iceni, I'm sure, will learn a lot from moving forward.
And Iceni pinning them down. The wind's really picking up here, as you can see with the cup that they're using in this zone. And this is the first zone we've seen all game. And Frizstyle, without a lot of communication, really moving it along the field. So you see here, Lafont throwing it back to Benoit. Benoit to Lafont. Bocanegra Gomez with the mask. We can call her Batman. Lafont looking for options, throws it in the middle, slicing and dicing to Korwazi. Korwazi to Benoit. Lafont really coming in here and helping along this zone offense.
Switch to person defense now.
And Benoit still having the grab, looking, surveying, and it looks like a deep shot to Lafont, and it looks like it's just right out. And Lafont going for a greatest right there. You got to applaud the effort.
Yeah, you can't fault that. You know you're not going to get it, so desperation. If it comes off, it would be the most amazing moment. It's great to see people having the consciousness to think that through, but unfortunately that wasn't going to be the moment. But yeah, mad respect for the effort.
And that's what you love to see right there.
Yeah, Frizstyle did say they were here to have fun, and that would be an incredibly fun turn of events.
You see right here, looks like Kwok having the handle, looking up field to Melvin Tang. Tang throwing up to Roland. Roland trying to get it to Flight, does get it to Flight. Flight looking at Quan. It's just, Kwok with the grab. Shakes her head no at one of her teammates trying to direct traffic and throws it up line. Looks like to number 11. Yeah, Roland, but it's just a little bit out of touch right there.
Yeah, Kwok clearly not seeing what she wanted to see there with the disc in her hands. Calling for her teammates to come under, wasn't really seeing those options. It's hard, if you haven't set up that undercut, it can be hard just to do that on the fly and be free and make sure you're not just clogging up space. So Kwok really important for that offensive movement up the field, but unfortunately with the throwaway there at the end, I think it was a little bit too much push.
And this is perfect right here for the Iceni defense to kind of get them pinned on that zone, as we saw a little Scooby out of the zone right there by Lafont. And Batman throwing it up line. Benoit looking around, throwing up line. Lamotte getting just a little bit too far.
Yeah, just a little bit of excitement. Just a little bit of overexcitement. They moved the disc really quickly, really decisively through that zone. They made Iceni be on the back foot. They didn't give them time to set up. They were moving it through that cup, not letting them get out in front. And then that last throw, unfortunately, a little bit far, but Iceni respond with a quick turnover.
Yeah. Melvin Tang just throwing it to space, but nobody in that area to occupy. So right now we kind of see Benoit walking up to the disc, scouring the defense, searching for options, faking Lafont, throwing it to Batman. Bocanegro Gomez throwing it to Lamotte. Oh, what a snag off the tippy fingers. Back to Bocanegro Gomez. Batman for the score. You can see she's pumped for that one. Frizstyle gets back on the board.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be really glad to have had a second go at that one. They worked all the way up the field so well, and then sort of got a little bit overexcited in that final pass, but managed to get that turnover back. And put that in nicely, so I'm sure they'll be really pleased with that one, and that was a really nice, we saw a lot of really nice offensive work there from the Frizstyle team. Iceni walking back to their line, I think they're still in good spirits, they're feeling good. I do think that we're seeing some sort of errors from them. I think there's been a few missed throws, a few miscommunications, a few kind of maybe like moments of lack of focus where they're putting discs out that aren't being able to be brought in, and perhaps in a few instances, the cutters, or there's not a connection. The personal disc, as we saw in the previous point, Karen Kwok had the disc in her hand, she wasn't seeing what she wanted from the cutters. So I think we just need, Iceni just need to take that moment and focus on what they want to be doing and how they want to be playing. I think Frizstyle have come in really strong, and they're really giving them a good game, even though perhaps the scoreline is quite separate, but they're really making Iceni fight for every point. And Iceni have it well within them to take control, and tighten up on some of these errors that we're seeing. Exactly,
and just kind of looking beyond just this game, you have a whole nother day to go, and so you want to clear up some mistakes. Again, it's still an early season tourney at Tom's Tourney here, but you still want to kind of clean up some errors and just kind of get that cohesion and cooperation going.
Absolutely.
And right here we see Alice Fionset throwing it deep downfield for the pole. Looks like Cap Hope having the disc. Looks like Frizstyle throwing a person to person right there. And it's a deep shot to not number 16, Becky Thompson, but her.
That's to Hannah Body. That was Hannah Body going deep for that shot. Lucy Barnes looking to see if she could put out in space. Hannah Body, a very athletic player, quite speedy, so hoping that she'd be able to get down there. But yeah, again, the throw was just not calibrated right. It was like that bit too far. Maybe she needed to give Body a second or two more on her cut so that she could really make sure she was hitting that deep space. Or she needed that throw just to be a little bit less ambitious, a little bit more to where the player is rather than where you want them to be.
And Hannah Bade, as we've seen before on that analysis, having the ability, she has to score already. But Frizstyle trying to get it off to the Pooh. Pooh looking up to number 17, Karaszewczyk. Karaszewczyk trying to find it. Fiance, a deep shot right here to Pontine, and it's just out of her reach. And right now we can hear the sirens going off, letting us know that we have 5 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, Fiance looking at ambitiously deep there. I think that was, again, one of those ones where if there was maybe a second longer for that cut to develop, then that throw would have been able to come off. But looking to attack that space, and she had 94 Baratine there and wanted to see if they could get it down.
Hannah Brewer just throws it out to space to Becky Thompson, but it wasn't caught. It looks like a pick was called, maybe?
There was a pick call on field, but I think that will likely be declined, and they'll take the turnover. I think that throw was very ambitious. I think that was really pushing to where you want the player to be rather than where they are, which makes it a little bit challenging. They have to really try and hustle down there, but in that instance, the turnover will stand.
And Frizstyle, Flora Girard just walking to pick up the disc right now, taking her time. We don't have much time left, but with the score being 10-5, it might just be about over for this game. But again, I've seen crazier things here.
Yeah, we know Frizstyle are here to have a good time. They'll be looking at the scoreline. They know there's only a few minutes left. I'm sure they're just going to give it their all and see if they can get another point on the board.
Girard throwing a high release to Baratine, but it looks like Hannah Brewer said not today.
Yeah, great read there by Hannah Brewer, making sure that disc goes out and it's Iceni possession. Cap Pope to pick up.
Iceni looking to increase their lead right here, looking at their end zone set for another break. Cap Pope throwing some fakes around, not getting it, but it looks like Hannah Body with the catch in the score. It looks like the disc the wind a little affected, gave it a little push up to give her the extra time to secure the catch.
Yeah, just definitely bobbled a little bit in the air. Hannah Body jumped up nice and high, I think giving herself that opportunity to catch it high or catch it a little bit lower depending on how the disc came down. But great read and a nice calm point there for Iceni.
And right there, that's Hannah Body's second score of the day. And as we see here, this game coming just a little bit down to a close. Iceni up 11-5, but Frizstyle are not giving up. They're continuing to compete for every point. And they're out here learning and having fun and gaining some experience.
Yeah, I think it's really critical to remember this is like a really early point of the season. Of course, we know Frizstyle are a sort of a pickup team, but they'll each be going off and playing with their various club teams. Iceni are a team that are going to Worlds. They're using this as their sort of first tournament of the season. They're using this to really play together, try and build some cohesion, to learn where their strengths are, where they need to focus their attentions in training to kind of improve. And yeah, I think they're absolutely going to come away from this game with a lot of information that they can use to sort of tighten up some of those errors and kind of maximize what's really working for them.
And as we see here, a pull downfield by McCarthy goes out of bounds. It looks like the wind is really picking up here, kind of forcing some errors and some turns.
Yeah, that one just tailed away at the last minute, just didn't have quite the shape on it to come back in. And so that will be bricked and brought in at the brick mark.
Benoit walking to the break, taking her time. But time is running out with only about 2 minutes left to go in the game. Benoit throwing underneath. Courvoisier throwing. Lamotte working, trying to get open, but it's not there. But Courvoisier finding the space with the disc. And Bocanegra Gomez, just a little bit out of touch right there, but what great defense
Yeah, really nice looking offense there from Frizstyle, really using the space a lot, but of course Iceni there, they're putting pressure on, and unfortunately that results in a turn.
And Van Krieken right there getting the block of the goal. She has 1 goal already this game, so just adding that tally. To see here, Bacardi picking up. Right here, looks like it's going up to number 8, Dalman. Dalman searching. Elspie. Taylor. Up line. Icini's looking. And it's a score for Iceni. Get pumped, get excited. That's Iceni 12, Frizstyle 5. And as you can kind of hear the hooter go off.
Yeah, Iceni is super amped up to get that catch. Definitely a close catch under a lot of pressure. Really great job to come down with that, despite the fact that they're, I think about at least 2 defensive players right on her shoulder. So excellent effort there. It looks like that's the end of the game.
Exactly, and kind of, Rachel, what do you take away from the performance by both teams here, especially by Iceni coming out victorious 12-5, maybe having a little bit of struggle early on?
I think Iceni demonstrated their strength as a team in this game, but I think that they will probably look at this and realize that the areas that they maybe need to tighten up to make it more consistent. I don't think that they sort of managed to play their own pace and keep their heads throughout every point of the game, and I think that in their prep for Worlds they'll be looking to do that, because they'll be coming up against teams where the slice is also focused and that'll be maximized. So I think Iceni will be really happy to come away with the win, and obviously they've got a nice decisive victory here, but I do think there'll be lots of learning points for them, and I think that Frizstyle have had an excellent game. They put a lot of pressure on. They really challenged Iceni. They were getting those run through Ds. They were working hard to make sure that they were contesting every throw and getting under every disc. So yeah, I think both sides will come away proud of how they've played, proud of the effort they've put in and the pressure they put the other team under, and a lot of learning points, which is what you want this early in the season. Exactly,
and still with a lot of Frisbee be played at Tom's Tourney in beautiful Brugge, Belgium. We had some rainy weather predictions, but it looks to be a beautiful day right here. And again, a nice wrap up right here by Iceni winning 12, Frizstyle 5. We're your hosts, Rachel Douglas, Corey Sostre. We are logging off for this session, but don't go anywhere as we have an exciting Powerpool men's play right here. Mooncatchers from the home country Belgium against Wall City of Germany.
Merci beaucoup.
Alti.tv